evil as the seer predicted. The mammoths that disappeared for 10 years returned to the valley. The warriors, energized, creep towards the mammoths, but facing such prehistoric beasts, extremely dangerous. This step could lead to being trampled into a pulp. This is accompanied by the sound of a whistle. The warriors rise. Their roars frighten the herd into a frantic escape, which is exactly their planned purpose. Drive the herd into the prepared traps. Watching the last isolated mammoth, a huge rock suddenly crashes down. The rising net successfully traps the mammoth, but they still underestimated the mammoth's strength. Soon the net is broken free. Eating their meal, about to escape, the warriors hastily pursue. Everyone grabs the net, trying to stop the mammoth, but they are quickly thrown off. Only Dare still clings to the net, being dragged by the mammoth through the valley. But not long after, the mammoth completely breaks free from the net. Dare suddenly panics. He raises his spear and throws it at the mammoth, but the thick-skinned mammoth is unharmed. The spear not only useless, but completely enrages the beast. Seeing the mammoth close at hand, Dare's spear gets stuck in a stone. In a critical moment, he can only flee. The mammoth, unable to stop in time, crashes into it. By a stroke of luck, Dare becomes the only warrior in the tribe to single-handedly take on a mammoth. This earns him the position of the new group leader, and he marries the girl he loves. But the good times don't last. The demon from the seer's prophecy appears. They not only steal all the food, but also capture all the young and strong of the tribe. Even Dare's newly-wed wife is taken by the bandit leader. His wife is taken away by the bandits as their leader's woman. Dare, although lucky to escape, as the tribal leader, cannot tolerate this. After receiving the seer's blessing, he and the old tribal leader, along with 4 others, set out to rescue their people. They cross snow-covered mountains. After surviving numerous close calls, they finally reach a primeval jungle, and they even catch up with the bandits. Taking advantage of the night, Dare knocks out a guard, finally rescuing his bound wife, but they are soon pursued by the bandits. Forced to hide in a bush just then, a sudden sound of a clucking hand comes from ahead. As everyone is at a loss, suddenly a large eye appears from the bush. Comment now if you like. There seems to be something in the bush. Suddenly a large eye glances at the group. At this moment, several bandits also catch up, but in the next second, a heart-wrenching scream erupts from the bandits. It turns out to be a prehistoric, extremely ferocious, wild chicken. They are not only large and imposing, but also highly intelligent. Even if you climb a tree, it will bite the trunk and follow. In a critical moment, the young man jumps up to escape the deadly strike, while Dare has just rescued his wife. Now they must separate. He hides his wife in a tree hollow, and he himself comes out to confront the wild chicken alone, successfully killing one of the chickens. But before he can celebrate for a few seconds, what seems to be the leader of the chicken charges at him. Dare leaves and grabs a bamboo. The missed chicken king crashes. Dazed and furious, it relentlessly pursues him, easily breaking a bamboo as thick as a thigh. Soon Dare is cornered. He picks up the broken bamboo. Aiming at the wild chicken's large mouth, he stabs it directly into the chicken's throat. Although Dare once again narrowly escapes death, his just-escaped wife is captured again. Even 2 of his companions are not spared. Truly a loss of both wife and soldier. Looking at the dying old tribal leader, Dare can only drag him, struggling forward. After an unknown duration, cold and hungry pair arrive at a tribe, looking for food. But just after taking a few bites, they're caught by the ambushing savages. Just as both sides face off, suddenly a deep roar is heard. And this was precisely the saber-toothed tiger, saved by Dare-eye. Seeing such a colossal creature, everyone was so frightened that they kept backing away. But Dare-eye did not retreat, but advanced unexpectedly. The saber-toothed tiger really recognized him. Just remember me. Tiger recognized him. You gave your wife. Then the saber-toothed tiger left, forward to the front of the savages, seemingly threatening them. Seeing the savages no longer acting rashly, the saber-toothed tiger then stylishly left. It was the appearance of the saber-toothed tiger that led Dare-eye to a turnaround, and onto the pinnacle of life. It turns out, the ancestors of the savages had long predicted that a boy who could communicate with a saber-toothed tiger would emerge. He would lead all the tribes to overthrow the rule of the god, liberating all the slaves, and these gods, in their mouths, those higher beings who captured their people. They were almost impossible to defeat. However, with the emergence of the prophesied child, they finally saw hope. Tribes from all directions rushed to hear the news. They swore to overthrow the divine rule, just as they were about to catch up with the gang of bandits. Unexpectedly, the bandits were navigating the sea on a ship. These savages had never seen such a thing before, plunging them into despair once more. Fortunately, they always believed Dare-eye was the hope. Without sailboats, they pursued along the way, wading through thousands of miles of yellow sand, walking through the cold winter of December. Finally, at this moment, they saw the legendary palace of the gods. This is a pyramid, under construction. Incredibly, this is happening in a primitive tribe. 10,000 years ago, to build this magnificent project, those who called themselves gods waged wars everywhere. They captured young and strong individuals from various tribes to serve as slaves for building the pyramid. Even the prehistoric mammoths were reduced to tool, their tusks cut off, aimed to assist in the construction. To expedite the progress, they would occasionally select someone and throw them off the pyramid, hundreds of meters high, as a warning to the slaves. This is the fate of those who don't work hard. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Dare-eye and his companion, after killing a guard, sneaked into the living area of the slaves to overthrow the rule of the gods completely. It was essential to unite all slaves in resistance. However, having been imprisoned for too long, they had lost the ability to resist. They believed the gods were unshakable, and resistance only meant certain death. At that moment, a servant who had served the pharaoh told Dare that the pharaoh had made a prophecy only by finding the person with the Orion constellation on their hand. The pharaoh's rule end. And beknownst to them, this person was right there, Darius' wife, who had just been captured. When they saw the mark of Orion on her hand, the god's tribe was thrown into panic. This signified the end of their reign. Though Darius had not yet persuaded the slaves, he decided to fight to the death. They quietly blended in with the slaves and seized the opportunity to free the mammoths from their restraints. Provoked by Darius, the mammoths became increasingly agitated. Under his lead, the herd charged, like wild horses, unleashed madly, towards the pharaoh soldier. The situation quickly became overwhelmingly one-sided. Seeing the gods tried losing ground, slaves rose in rebellion, collectively overthrowing the pyramid, a symbol of power. At this moment, a large army from outside the city converged from all directions. As they became unstoppable, the gods' tribe immediately used Darius' wife as a human shield. With the sound of the horn, the slaves all knelt down, unanimously, their minds deeply enslaved by the pharaoh. The situation reversed. Once again then, using Darius' wife as a bargaining chip, they demanded Darius, his people to retreat, or everyone would face death. Reluctantly, Darius had to compromise. However, just as the gods' tribe let down their guard, Darius suddenly raised his spear and threw it directly at the pharaoh. The self-proclaimed god didn't even realize what happened before he was killed by the spear. Through the veil, people finally discovered that the so-called god was just a human masquerading his divine. Their fear instantly vanished. At that moment, everyone's passion was fully ignited. They rushed forward and killed all the sorcerers. Eventually, even the temple was burned to the ground. Just when it seemed the long-awaited reunion of the couple was at hand, an arrow suddenly shot towards Darius' wife. Although they ultimately won the battle, Darius lost his beloved wife forever. He was in deep grief, but mortals are ultimately powerless to reverse fate. Far away in the tribe, the prophet sensed all this. Moved by their love, he sacrificed his own life to resurrect Darius' wife, and Darius did not disappoint. With the seeds given to him by the tribe, he started farming, leading his people to completely abandon the traditional hunting lifestyle. From then on, they lived off their own labor, entering a new era of tribal civilization.